Good morning. Before my 7 minutes start, all of you speakers have been amazing. And I think everyone here who has gotten up here in front of all of you, I think this is harder than trying the case. And it's also very hard to come behind somebody who doesn't refer to a freeway as a freeway, but a motorway with a wonderful accent. So, but I'm going to try. A few years back, I was asked to speak up here for two individuals who are up for Street Fighter of the Year in a case of a young girl who was repeatedly abused by an older man who had the power of the purse because all she wanted to do was to buy a cheerleading uniform. And the case presented one of many colors, but they were primarily pink. The case I'm speaking to you today about is not as black and white, and it really revolves around a lot of hues of gray. But at the end of the day, it comes back to the same thing: a man with power. In this case, a man with a gun and a man with a badge. Alexa Curtin was born and raised in Orange County. She was the daughter of privilege. She had loving parents, a wonderful family, a great sister, a very loving grandmother, and in all respects, she was living the dream. When she was a teenager, her mom was tapped to be on the Real Wives of Orange County. Real Housewives, I guess, of Orange County. You can tell I don't have a TV. And their lives changed dramatically as the unreal world of television set in. Her dad's business failed. They ran out of money. The house was foreclosed on, and the process server served them on TV. Her parents divorced. She found herself on the hard side of social media postings which were body shaming her. And she's a very attractive young woman. But she didn't know that. She spiraled into alcoholism. She spiraled into probably drugs. She has tattoos all over her hands and fingers now. And she got married at the age of 18, thinking that might fix it. But it didn't. She got involved in adult porn. She made a sex tape about fantasizing over having sex with a police officer. Her marriage began to flounder, hit the rocks, and on June 27th of 2014, she got into a fight with her husband late at night, and the police were called. And the Orange County Sheriff's Department arrived. The deputy sheriff in charge was a man by the name of Nick Carapino, and a rookie trainee who went with him. They basically broke up the fight, and Carapino took Alexa to her car, which was parked down the block. He turned off the audio on the body cam. He opened the door. He told her to get in, and he began to verbally abuse her and body shame her. He searched the car, found underwear in the car, and then proceeded to accuse her of all sorts of unnatural things. And then he told her, because he knew he had power, to stay there until he came back. And if she didn't, he would come after her. She was drunk. She didn't have her driver's license. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and she got in the car, and she stayed there. She didn't try to call anyone. She basically fell asleep, and an hour later, he returned. And he rapped on the window with his flashlight, and he got in the car when she opened it. He then proceeded to take her head and force her head by pulling on her hair into his crotch and made her give him head. He then took his fist and shoved it up her vagina, and then he raped her. And throughout it all, she kept saying no, and throughout it all, he kept body shaming her and calling her every ugly name in the book. And she kept thinking, what have I done to deserve this? It must be me. And it carried on, and then he finally quit, got out of the car, and left. And she did nothing. 4 months later, she came to meet a young lawyer, Jeremy Jass, who was a former police officer with the Long Beach Police Department. And he took her case and told her, you have to sue. And he found out, shockingly, that Carapino, 5 months before, was under investigation by the DA's office in Orange County for having done almost the exact same thing to another woman who he had arrested on a DUI. And the Orange County Sheriff's Department had a very unusual policy. They called it a practice, not a policy. And that was, if you were under criminal investigation, they would not do an internal investigation. And they would leave the officer on duty, on patrol, and the officer continued to go out, and he continued to rape people and abuse them. And he had done it to 8 other women in the year before she was raped. All of this came out in federal court in front of Steve Wilson, who was not an easy judge to have. Browne, Greene, Dan Balaban, Holly Boyer, Shea, and another young man fought like hell. They had a 2-day trial. The issue was Manel. It was a tough issue that they had to fight back incredibly on. And let me also say, the DA's office never prosecuted Carapino. So in the end of the day, the jury came back after 30 minutes with a verdict against Orange County and against Carapino. And it was because of the efforts of these lawyers, young and old, people who have committed to this organization for many, many years, who revealed all of this. It became public. It was in People magazine. It was in the Orange County Register, the Orange County Weekly, and any number of other press articles on what the DAs and the Orange County Sheriff's Department did. Let me say finally, and I know I'm short on time, there's a special place in hell for men like Nick Carapino and organizations that allow them to continue to do what they do. And I hope you find a special place in the annals of this organization for these incredible lawyers who took on a case that, quite frankly, I thought was pretty unwinnable, and fought like hell and brought justice to a young woman who now knows it wasn't her. Thank you.